Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94, back with another reaction video. Today, we're going to react to the greatest NBA basketball game, in my personal opinion, ever fucking made. Hands down, this is the creme de la creme. This is the GOAT of all basketball games, all basketball video games. This right here is the GOAT. This is the creme de la creme. This is the perfection. This is the greatest basketball game ever made, ever played, and ever laid on a CD. NBA Street Volume 2 was a masterpiece. It's by Soft Drink TV. I wouldn't say this would be the finale, but after this, we may be taking a break from Soft Drink TV in the video game documentaries. Well, not really, because I have found other channels, but I think after this I'm gonna take a break for a while on these type of videos. Even though y'all fucking with them, y'all are fucking with them. I do see the engagement, y'all are fucking with them, but after this one I'm gonna take a break from the video game retrospectives and documentaries and stuff like that, because I love this shit, but I just want to take a break from it because I want to implement some newer series that I have in mind. That's why. So yeah, but without further ado though, let's check this out though. The greatest basketball game of all time. This was my childhood growing up. This is all I was playing non-stop. Well, until NBA Ballers came out, then I stopped playing this for a while. But I went right back to it after I finished up NBA. Well, after I couldn't beat NBA Ballers because I couldn't get past Jason Kidd, but that's neither here nor there. Let's check this out.
Sports video games are usually only enjoyed by sports fans.
Yeah.
But in rare situations, a sports game is so well made, so accessible, and so fun that it becomes a worldwide phenomenon enjoyed by nearly everyone.
Yeah.
Even if they don't pay attention to sports at all.
Facts.
NBA Street Volume 2 might just be the best example of such a situation.
The greatest.
It's been nearly 2 decades since its release, yet the game is still commonly crowned as one of the greatest sports video games ever made.
As it should be.
The NBA Street series was a spiritual successor to NBA Jam, and while the first NBA Street was a pretty good game by itself, its sequel, Volume 2, was an even better, incredible, legendary game that transcended genres. And it blew up. Some call it the greatest basketball video game ever made. Some call it the best video game of all time. I call it a masterpiece. While newer basketball games such as NBA 2K22 have better graphics and more realistic gameplay, these newer titles just don't feel as special. Maybe we're spoiled by the rapid evolution of technology, but back in the PS2 era, certain games just felt magical. They were released on a disc in full with no option to patch them down the road.
That's because back then they used to take risks. They used to take risks with these games. They used to actually... That's the difference between the PlayStation 2 era and all the other eras. Back in the PlayStation 2 era, a lot of video game companies used to take risks. They never made a cliche game. They never tried to play it safe. Like today you get these most cliche-ass games in the world. You get Fortnite clones, you get Call of Duty clones, you get Grand Theft Auto clones. You know what I'm saying? And then with the sports games, you got the same shit. You got a association franchise thing. You got a a career mode type of thing. Then you get the ultimate team. So the microtransactions are there to get the money off of you. You know what I'm saying? And they do this in all the sports video games. All the sports video games are the same. There's no soul. There's no creativity. There's no variety. There's no risk involved. It's just make a simple game, sell it, and make these units and and produce these units with these numbers. That's why they don't hit the same. But like NBA Street Volume 2 was different. It was just for the it was for the culture. It was a product of its time. It was handled with care. And that's why it's the greatest basketball game of all time.
Releasing an unfinished game was not acceptable, nor was it common. Microtransactions didn't even exist. NBA Street Volume 2 felt like a love letter to basketball, a passion project made by people who strive to build something great. Profit wasn't the motive. Creating something remarkable was. Street Volume 2 painted a picture of basketball like no other game before. It didn't feel like your average sport in this game, but instead an entire world with its own history and culture. Everyone wants to dunk, to jump from the free throw line and poster somebody, to defy gravity and become superhuman. And that's the power NBA Street Volume 2 gave us.
Greatest basketball video game. Greatest basketball video game.
After the success
Get it right.
of NBA Street, EA started producing a sequel. Members from the NBA Live games, which were great at that point in time, and a few remaining members of the original NBA Street team spent over 2 years developing Volume 2. The game's producer, Will Mazel, also hired developers who had no experience with sports game development. To make a game that anyone could enjoy, you need variety within your dev team. The Volume 2 team spent months educating themselves on the history of street ball, hip-hop, fashion, and more, aiming to fully submerge themselves into the culture of the sport. They even visited some of the most iconic street courts in New York City.
Facts.
In an interview with GQ, the game's technical art lead Adam Myhill said, "We steeped ourselves in the culture as much as some white dudes on the west coast of Canada could." The team was heavily inspired by this Nike Freestyle commercial that aired during the 2001 NBA All-Star Game. Featuring a mix of street ballers and NBA players showcasing really impressive skills and moves that you'd only see in street ball, the commercial had a vibe that the team at EA Big really wanted to capture. There was no voiceover or acting in the commercial, just raw street ball talent, which is what really caught the attention of Mazel. He actually found the director of the commercial, Jimmy Smith, and hired him to help create advertisements for Street Volume 2. Smith did much more than that. He hired the voice of the game, Pepito Garcia, who flew in to record lines for the game. When recalling his time working on the game, Garcia said, "They booked me, I got up to Vancouver, stayed an entire week, and they gave me like pages and pages of script. Pages and pages of script. And I looked at them and I told them, I was like, yo, I have to be allowed to ad-lib here because this is not how we talk." They were like, "Yeah, no leash, freak the f*** out." Essentially, they just wanted to bring some more authenticity to the game. No knock on EA, but they're based in Vancouver, which has a wonderful playground basketball community, but the writers of Volume 2 were all like hockey players. And I'm not even making that up. When Nike released their Dr. Funk advertising campaign, the team took notice. I think Nike Freestyle captured the core gameplay experience we wanted the gamer to have. Moves that blew you away yet seemed so simple to execute and would entertain over and over and over, Mazel said. Dr. Funk is definitely more of the cultural vibe and visceral experience we wanted our audience to be immersed in. In one way, it was about combining the magic and awe of the athlete with an experience that was unique to only a few places on the planet, like Rucker Park. Then Garcia and the rest of the team came up with a fantastic idea. What if we threw the concept of time out the window and had old school legends play against modern NBA players? And NBA Street Volume 2 was born. So what made Volume 2 so special, especially when compared to the first NBA Street title? It simply had more of everything. More game modes, more players, more courts, more moves, more. There's the Tutorial Street School, where newcomers and returning players from Street 1 can learn about the new gameplay features and practice them. The pickup game mode is self-explanatory. While this game was an incredible multiplayer experience, it had over 40 hours of offline content that was well worth your time. From the awesome Be a Legend mode, where you create your own player and develop his skills as you ball on every major street court, to NBA Challenge, where you take your team of players against other squads led by NBA players and unlock new players along the way. The more you play, the more you unlock, which is very addicting in the best way possible. And there was no way to monetize this, so unlocking new players and courts was fair and rewarding. If you pay full price for a game, why should you need to pay more later on?
Fact.
Street 2's only objective was to be fun, something modern sports games have completely forgotten about. The game featured courts from across the country, including New York, Seattle, Chicago, LA, and Oakland. Unlockable players included Dr. J, Jerry West, Bill Russell, multiple versions of Michael Jordan, and many more historic NBA players, all with unique moves, attributes, and abilities. Gameplay was very similar to Street 1, with 3-on-3 action and no fouls. It was fast-paced, unrealistic, and amazing. A ton of new moves were added, and despite the game's intentional lack of realism, matchups between NBA players were quietly accurate. You can play like MJ with MJ, just in an exaggerated fashion. The new moves included the kick pass, be the oop, off the Hize, back to Papa, and more, and they could be combined together along with the turbo and trick button to get creative. Just like in real street ball, the potential ways to get past the defender and score were limitless. There was a new game breaker system with more options to choose from after you fill the meter up. You can remove a point from your opponent or add a point to your score, like in Street 1, but you could also sacrifice your meter to reset your opponent's game breaker, or you could save it for a level 2 game breaker. Take NBA Street 1, a fantastic game, and make it somehow 10 times better. That's NBA Street Volume 2. The soundtrack is a massive reason why this game is so loved.
Facts.
In the first NBA Street, due to budget issues, they couldn't get all the songs they wanted, so it felt incomplete and lacked cohesion. With Volume 2, that changed. Because Street 1 did so well, EA gave the team more resources to work with the second time around, resulting in one of the greatest video game soundtracks ever. Exclusively hip-hop, Volume 2's soundtrack creates an immaculate vibe. Many artists, including 50 Cent, were invited to help curate it. NBA Street Volume 2 went on to be the most successful and most popular street video game ever. While 2 more NBA Street games released later, Volume 3 and Home Court, they were missing a lot of what made Volume 2 stand out. The game's iconic font was gone, the old school uniforms were gone, the visual style changed, and the newer titles became more focused on modern street ball rather than celebrating the nostalgic and classic history of the sport. Gameplay regressed to be more realistic, and as expected, the series slowly died off. Kyrie Irving, an NBA player known for his crafty handles and finishes, grew up playing street ball in New Jersey. He has said that basketball is not a game, but an art form. That idea is shared with the team that created Volume 2, which might just be the greatest basketball video game ever made.
Yes.
Because it wasn't trying to be realistic. It wasn't trying to look like a broadcast. It wasn't trying to mimic anything. It was simply trying to be great, and it succeeded. I doubt we will ever see another game like Volume 2. As the years go on, sports games are regressing. They all focus on the wrong things. Graphics may look nicer than ever, but games like NBA 2K feel soulless. Where's the love? Sports games aren't like they used to be, and it's not just nostalgia. The ability to release an unfinished game and patch it later, the hyper-monetization of online game modes created solely to suck money out of consumers, the yearly release cycle, and a lack of competition are major reasons why. But I believe the number one reason the genre has regressed is because games are only made with one thing in mind today.
Money.
Profit.
Yep.
When profit is the only motive, you can feel it in the final product. When a game is made out of pure passion, it just hits different, like a work of art. NBA Street Volume 2 is one of the last examples of such a practice. Thanks for watching.
I just said it. When you make a game that's just for profit, it's not gonna hit. When you make a game out of love, it's gonna hit. That's why we look at games like 2K11, 2K14, 2K16. We look at those games and we give them so much love and so much praise because they were made with a certain type of care. You could tell that the developers was making a game that was for us. Like they were trying to put something in, and implement it and show us, the consumer, that you making a game that we can fuck with. But other than that, it's like every other game since has just been for profit at this point. And it's not getting no better, man. It's getting worse because now everything is about profit. Everything is about money. That just goes to show you all these $1 billion, $1 million companies, they broke. 2K is broke. EA is broke. Rockstar is broke. All these companies are broke. They could go under at any time. Why you think they focus so much on microtransactions, bro? Just is what it is. We will never get games that are made with care anymore. We only get games that are made for profit. No game is made with care. It's sad what the video game company is coming to, because I hate to admit it, the way how video games are going these days, I feel like video games are slowly dying because more video games are being made just for profit, more than they're being made with care and respect for whatever you do, like the craft and everything. It just don't hit the same no more. Like everything is just made out of like profit now, and it's just getting sad, bro. And I feel like games are slowly dying. Like y'all see me on this channel, like name one new relevant game I've played so far. I've been playing older games back in the PlayStation 2 era. Why? Because those were the days when games were actually made with care. When video game companies actually used to take risks, actually be like, we want to implement this into the game, and we want to make a game like this and implement this into it, and let's make a story that's like this, and you know what I'm saying, let's just do something that's just out of the box. And I love those games, and it makes you miss those games because we don't get them no more. Like I said, you got your Fortnite clones, you got your Call of Duty clones, you got your GTA clones. All the sports games are damn near the same. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's no variety, there's no difference, there's no character in video games no more. It's all profit, it's all names, it's all nostalgia. There's nothing good anymore. And that's why I feel like video games are slowly dying. Or maybe I'm just falling out of love with the video games. Maybe. But anyways, though, that's just gonna about do it for this one. Tell me what y'all think down in the comment section below. I'll get back to you. Till then, peace out.